I have been in public school for 21 years, and some of my suggestions for tips for parents is in the area particularly of bullying and cyberbullying is know all the websites that your students are on, or your children. So do your research. There's Vine, there's Kik, there's Snapchat, there's Instagram, there's Facebook, and many others. So do your research, know what each of these sites do, and pay attention to your child's interaction on social media. A lot of times some of these applications are very negative in scope, and students may possibly use them to bully each other, or they may be getting bullied on some of these sites. So please be sure to support your student by talking to them and asking them, basically leaving the door open for conversations around what they're doing on some of the media sites. As far as the question about how parents would know what some of the sites are and what their students are doing and how to find those sites, again, having a good line of communication with your child is really important. Your child will tell you about some of the different sites, but also having access to all their passwords, their email password, their Facebook password. It's very important for you to monitor what they're doing on social media, and to do that, you need their passwords, and also you can have them talk to you about the different sites and what they're doing. I know it sounds like you may be concerned that you may lose your child's trust, but when you are buying expensive cell phones and computers and those kinds of devices, just help your student and your son or daughter understand that they need to learn how to use any equipment, any tool properly, and that includes their electronics, that includes the computer, their cell phone, and what have you, their iPods and their iPads, because from my experience of working with kids for over 20 years, it is really important for us to sort of mentor and explain to them what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. It's not a natural thing for someone to know what's appropriate and what's not appropriate as far as harassment, as far as bullying, as far as inappropriate photographs, exchanging of photographs, that sort of thing. If you are told by your child, or if you somehow found out that they're being bullied through social media, the first step is to talk to them about it and see the relationship with that other student or that other child. Also, you can contact the school administration, because many states, such as Georgia, the state I live in, have laws where the school does have a responsibility to act. If a social media site has any kind of threats or bullying involved, then they have to do an investigation and act to see if whatever's happening outside of school is affecting students in school. So the proper protocol would be typically you can start with the school guidance counselor or school administrator that's involved with discipline. They will know what the policies and procedures are. Also, all districts have a manual, and in that student code of conduct manual, it will clearly spell out what is harassment, what is bullying, and what is cyberbullying. So it's good for all parents to be familiar with their child's school district's protocols and their student code of conduct manual. The guidance counselor will help you navigate through who you should talk to in that building, get support for your student, see if there's a bigger issue, see if bullying is happening in person as well as on a media site, those types of things. Well, it's the responsibility of every school, every federal agency, every state agency to have translation services available. Many schools who have high populations of students that speak different languages will have something in place. They either have a language line sort of situation where you can find a translator, or they'll have staff in the building that are there and available to translate. So if you're going through the proper steps and you have reached out and you feel like that you're not being heard or your child's not being heard, then there's always a level of steps. There's always, if you're not getting results from the counselor or an assistant principal, then you move up the ranks to the principal of the school or maybe a regional director. Most school districts are broken up into regions, and so therefore all those regions, all the schools in that region will have someone that directs, and someone is the next chain of command above the principal of the building. And some of the signs to look for when your child possibly may have been bullied is them not wanting to go to school, not being motivated. If you see their friendship group change, just being stressed and upset a lot. They may not be social. They may be not hanging out with their friends, things like that. Isolation, basically. Right. Retaliation is often a concern with students that are bullied. They feel like if they address the situation that the bullying will maybe increase or get worse. But when it comes to most protocols and laws on the books, bullying is a hierarchy of challenges. So if a student makes a report, the most important thing is that they are protected and that it's safe to make that report. A lot of reports can be done anonymously, and a lot of reports can be done in confidence, but if a student makes a report and the bullying continues or gets worse or increases, then the consequences for that bullying will also, those consequences will increase and will be graduated. And some districts have as much as, it goes from having a conference and doing some training with the student who is the perpetrator of the bullying, all the way up to expulsion from school. School systems all have bullying policies and procedures, and many of those procedures, most of those procedures include training of teachers, training of the entire student body, training of parents, and even training of community members. There's also typically a bullying hotline or method, so please check your district's policy around bullying and what their reporting method is, because it's typically anything from a hotline to a specific form to use. There will all be, each district will have and programs for how to address bullying. If your student is still not comfortable going to school after you have given them support and they still feel like they are being bullied or bullying is a problem, then there's always a continuation of support to your student by either getting them counseling outside or getting them involved in some extracurricular activities in situations where they can feel accepted. Joining clubs at school, joining sports or other events or programs, well, they will find a sense of belonging. So it's been my experience that helps, that in a school community, having each student have something that they're involved with. It may be an after-school club, it may be a chess club, it may be playing tennis, it may be a sport, it could be several things, but getting your student involved in the student body helps them make new friends and have friends that have the same likes that they have.